Hey everybody, welcome to day 5 of Earth's Changing Climate Engineering Internship, considering feedback and redesign. Hey, tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and read the message that should be in your inbox today from Marcos, and here it goes. It says, "Hi interns, thanks for submitting your roof modification design for Sultan. I sent each partner a letter with my feedback. As you think about the feedback, you will organize your thoughts in the design feedback summary sheet. Your internship coordinator, that's me, will show you how to use this sheet. Future engineers use feedback from the project director and data from many tests to optimize their designs, making the best possible design." So yeah, this idea of using the feedback that we get from you can get feedback from all sorts of sources. It could be from a model, it could be from an actual person. But yeah, we're going to use that to change our design and optimize our design. One essential part of the design cycle is to analyze results. It's important to consider the science involved as you think about how well each of your designs addresses the criteria. You'll need to do a careful analysis in order to learn from your test results and plan your future iterations. And we will walk through that together. Be sure to record many designs today so that you have plenty of data to analyze. For after hours work, you will get ready for your final round of iterative tests by reflecting on what strategies you want to use in your final day of testing. All right, here's our deliverables. The design feedback summary sheet, several designs using a roof mod data sheet, and for after hours, optimal design preparation form. All three. There you go. Hey, so one of the things that Marcos addressed was that he sent each of you a letter with feedback based on your design that you were supposed to have submitted yesterday. If you did not submit a design, you probably don't have a letter. So, what I want you to do right now is go find that letter and read it. Okay, you're looking for the letter from Marcos about your submitted design yesterday. Go ahead and do that now. Pause. Did you get your feedback? Great. Hey, the next thing we're going to do, and I'm going to show you how to interpret some of that feedback. We're going to fill out this form, the design feedback summary. So you have some of this information already. You can put your name there, the date, your version number. That was just which test did you actually submit? Because we were supposed to do, I was hoping for 6. Which of those did you actually submit? And then the percent of roofs with each of these. The ones kept original, solar, and white. And then what were the numbers? What were all the numbers that you got from analyzing the results? Now, this part right here, let's talk about this. Feedback from the project director. Depending on what feedback you got, it's going to be different for what you put in here. Let's look at some examples really quick. The first one, let's look at climate impact. So here's an example of what Marcos may have told a group. You still have quite a bit of work to do to reduce Sultan's impact on the climate. While you've slightly increased the city's albedo, it needs to be increased even more. We would also like to see you work harder to reduce the amount of carbon dioxide put into the atmosphere. So what are we saying here? Basically, does Marcos like our climate impact? Or does he sort of have a negative view of it? Based on what it says here, it seems like we have some work to do. And so, yeah, we've slightly increased the city's albedo. I'd like to see more work to reduce the amount of carbon dioxide. So in our feedback, we would write something along those lines right here. We would sort of summarize, hey, here's what Marcos said. All right, let's look at the next category, cost. We all want to reduce Sultan's impact on climate, but this design costs too much. A design this expensive just isn't possible. Please consider replacing more expensive roof modifications with less expensive ones so you can reduce costs. So going back to our form, it definitely sounds like Marcos is saying, whoa, 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 way too expensive. And that's what we would write right here. Now, again, your feedback might be different. Maybe Marcos liked your cost. Maybe he said that was one of the strong points of your design. I don't know. Again, this is all going to be customized for you. And let's look at the last one, which was historic value. You did a great job in preserving the historic value of Sultan's buildings. We all care about reducing our impact on climate, but this design shows us that you also understand how important these beautiful buildings are to the people of Sultan. In future designs, please continue to keep this historic rating this high. Well, great. We did something right here. And that's what we would put down for historic value, that Marcos, I don't know, thought that we did a good job keeping historic value high. Okay. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to go through your feedback letter and you're going to look at all those categories and you're going to fill out that form for yourself. Here's an example of what that form might look like filled out with the notes there. CO2 from combustion, they said weak. Work harder to reduce the amount of CO2. That's basically what Marcus said. For average albedo, it needs to be increased even more. Okay, so why are we even writing things down? Because this is going to direct and influence our future designs. So we want to take this into consideration. Marcus is saying, hey, you need to do this better. Okay, how am I going to do that in my next design? Marcus says, hey, you did a great job this. Okay, how am I going to keep it at that high level without sacrificing that score that I got? So what I want you to do right now, go find your personalized feedback letter and fill out this design feedback summary right now. Pause. Ooh, great. Next thing we're doing is the target value. This row right here. Now, what this means is like these are the actual numbers that we are shooting for in order to have a positive range. You were supposed to fill out this sheet, and how you were supposed to do this was you were supposed to go around to other groups. You were supposed to find out, hey, what was your feedback? Was it strong, moderate, weak? Was it good? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Okay, and then what was your actual number? What were your actual numbers for these? So if a person got weak feedback, what were their numbers for CO2 from combustion? If somebody got strong feedback, what were their numbers from CO2 from combustion? And basically what we would be doing is gathering a whole bunch of data and sort of kind of crunching the numbers and looking at, all right, well, what are now the values, okay? If I want strong for average albedo, what do I need to get my numbers, my percentage numbers in between? If I want strong for historic value, what numbers do I need? Now, it's a little bit tricky to do that all as a class because we're all in different places. So I attached this. I gave you all the values for these. So you have all the ranges here. So if you want to get strong, if you want green in all of these categories, you need to meet all of these numbers. More than 45% albedo, more than 4 for historic value, less than $12 million, less than 11,000 tons CO2 from combustion. Now, it might be really hard to get all those values. It might even be impossible. So one of the things that we're gonna have to do is consider, all right, well, what do I still want the most? Maybe I'm okay having moderate historic value. As long as I can get my other numbers increased, I think that will be a better design. So what you're going to do, why don't you go ahead and copy those target values into this section right here. Go ahead and do that right now. Pause. All right, so we have all of our values, we have our feedback from the director, we have our optimal design that we had submitted yesterday. Now let's think about what do we want to do next, because we have one more row to fill out here, our redesign strategy. And let's take a look at some of these questions that might help us with doing that. The first one, think about how to improve climate impact in your next iteration. That was one of our categories, climate impact. How do you increase the albedo? Well, I increase the albedo by what? By painting roofs white. Okay. What if that was something you needed to increase? Well, okay, then I would increase the amount of white roofs in my design. How do you reduce CO2 other than by increasing the albedo? Oh yeah, I can reduce CO2 by adding more solar panels to roofs. So if that was something I needed to focus on, then I could say in my next design, right here, I am going to increase the amount of solar panels, okay? Something like that. So there's all of these questions for all of those categories that I want you to think about, and I want you to look at your optimal design that you had submitted and think, okay, what do I need to do for each of these categories? Maybe yours was fine. Maybe you had a great albedo. So you just need to make sure you keep it at a certain level. You don't need to add more white roofs or anything like that. So anyway, think through those questions. Think about how am I going to redesign my design. Do that right now. Pause. Hey, the last thing I want you to do today is I want you to actually come up with some new designs, some new plans. How are you going to design and test these tomorrow? Tomorrow we'll do some more tests. We will submit some more plans. So yeah, maybe come up with a couple. You realize, okay, well, I need to do this and this and this. Maybe I want to focus on just one aspect here. I want to increase my solar panels. I want to increase my albedo, whatever it might be, and come up with a few different ways that you might test this for tomorrow. So, how many of these do you need to fill out? Hey, how about you fill out at least two plans for testing for tomorrow. And after you do that, people, let's call it a day. Make sure you check to see that you got all of your deliverables taken care of, and we'll see you back tomorrow.